Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog.stampwithelaine.com. I promised to share some of the projects I created as a display stamper for the team meeting in June, which was with the Magnolia Suite. Today I'll be recreating this card, but with the Royal Peacock bundle. This is a diamond easel card. It's really a lot easier than it looks. You can find the Noble Suite on pages 24 to 26 in the new catalogue. If you wish to buy all the items that go in the suite, then you use this number here just below the title, and you only need to put in the code once and it will give you one each of the items listed on this page. It will also include the bundle price, so you're already getting 10% because you're buying the stamp set and the dies together. I'm using the Royal Peacock photopolymer stamp set and the dies. What are the dies called? Detailed Peacock dies. So if you purchase these together, you'll get 10% off. In today's project, I'll be using this outline and the feather. Let's run through the other items you need. The Old Olive ink pad and blueberry bushel. The Noble Peacock Specialty DSPs. These are 12 by 12 inch single-sided design sheets. In metric, that's 30.5 by 30.5 centimeters, and there are 4 each of 3 single-sided designs. And the reason why they're single-sided is because they are box quality, so it's much heavier than the normal cardstock, and they're also foiled. And we're also using the Noble Peacock foil sheet. Only 6 sheets in the pack, and there's 2 each of 3 colours, so blueberry bushel, old olive and pretty peacock. We're going to be using a piece of the old olive foil. We'll also need the Noble Peacock rhinestones. These are gorgeous. Start off with the card base, which is half a sheet of Whisper White 12 by 12, so that measures 6 inches by 12 inches. So take the Whisper White cardstock, doesn't matter if it's flimsy, because by the time you put the matte layers on, it will strengthen the card. So long side on top, you score at 3 inches, 6 inches, and you make a mark at the 9-inch point, top and bottom. So run your stylus at the 9-inch score line and then run it down to the bottom of your paper so you can make a mark at the bottom as well. Take your cardstock 90 degrees, and then at the top you want to mark 3 inches on the short edge. Rotate your cardstock 180 degrees and mark the bottom at 3 inches as well. You might find it a little bit difficult to see, so you might want to mark it with a pencil, those points you made with your stylus. We're going to cut the cardstock from the centre point to that 3-inch score line. Offer it up to the cutting groove so that these points are in the cutting groove, and then you want to cut diagonally, and then do the same for the other side. 3-inch mark there, down to the 3-inch mark on the bottom edge. Now where the double score line is, that's the top of your card. So in fact you want to mirror this cut on the base of the card, which is a 6-inch by 6-inch piece. So you can either draw a line and cut. Actually, I'm going to bring in my guillotine, a small guillotine, because I find that cutting with the guillotine is more accurate. So I'm going to line up those marks I made on my cardstock and cut off the corner to mirror the top of the card. So now that's your easel card. Burnish the scoreline. The top is for your easel. See, so that's essentially how it goes. You need some Whisper White cardstock to stamp your peacock. You'll need 3 Old Olive squares for the matte layers. These measure 4 inches by 4 inches. In metric, that will be 10.2 by 10.2 centimeters. One of the squares you will need to cut diagonally so that you use one of the triangles for the inside panel of the card. And this one is surplus to requirements. Old Olive square, 2 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. In metric, that's 7 by 7 centimeters. And you need to cut those diagonally. Now I've done a template so it's easier to identify which panel I mean. So I've divided the panel. This is your 3-inch score line here, your 6-inch, and then your 9-inch marks. Inside top A, the middle panel here B, the base part where the square is going to go is C, and the 2 little triangles on these bits here will be called F1 and F2, and these are your 2 3/4 inch triangles. The 4-inch by 4-inch matte layers, that will be for C, and one of it is for B, for D, the easel. Let's turn it round. So D, E, and this is the bottom of your base, and nothing goes on there. So this is one of the squares is for D, and you only put glue on the bottom half so that your easel can stand up like so. Then the other half of your 4 by 4 inch square will go inside panel A here. Old Olive piece for panel B. This measures 2 3/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. That's 7 centimeters by 14.6 centimeters. For E, on the easel side, which is the back of this card, I wanted a continuation of the cardstock when it was closed like this, so that it would be the same width as the diagonal on the 4-inch by 4-inch square cardstock matte layer. So you only have a border on 3 sides, so this measures 2 7/8 inch in width, and I've left it long so I can then make a mark and cut it afterwards. Now we'll talk about the DSP layers. This is 3 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and you'll need 2 of those. Now we need a matte layer for the inside top A. So I've cut a square in Whisper White, 3 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and it's cut diagonally, so that will lay on top of this. For F1 and F2 is a 2 3/8 inch by 2 3/8 inch square Noble Peacock DSP. In metric, that will be 6 by 6 centimeters, and you cut it diagonally, so that one goes on there and that one on there. For panel B, on the inside of the card, the Whisper White layer, this has been cut at 2.5 by 5.5 inches. That's 6.35 by 14 centimeters. That goes on the inside. So first, let's start by gluing the 4-inch matte layer in Old Olive to the base of the card. And remember to leave an even border, so you marry that up onto the mark you made there before, and make sure that the border is even here. Then the 2 small squares, F1 and F2, now cut into 2 triangles. That will go here. Now we want to adhere this one into panel E. And the triangle up there. Next we want to adhere the square, so only put the glue on two sides. And glue along the top here, but be careful not to go too far, otherwise you get glue everywhere. I'll just put a dollop of glue there and there at the tip. And make sure the points are on the score line. Now you can turn it over so that your triangular points are pointing north and south, and then you want to mark your cardstock where the triangles are. Bring in the trimmer and line that mark up with the trimmer in the cutting groove and glue that down. Now we need the DSP for this panel E. If I turn it the other way round, it'll probably be better. I'm just doing it by eye. Make a mark there. I'm going to use my guillotine for this, where I marked it. So now I've trimmed it off, I can glue that piece down. Then my squares. And lastly, my triangles. That's ready for the stamped pieces, so let's get stamping. I've put a foam mat underneath because it's photopolymer stamps. I'm going to ink up the bottom part of the peacock's tail in blueberry bushel and just stamp at the bottom right corner. And the top right corner, top left corner. And while I've got this blueberry bushel ink out, I'm also going to stamp on the corner. Eek, I've smudged it, so good job there's an emergency side. So just stamp it in the corner. Switch inks to Old Olive and ink it up again. Change stamps, and I'm going to line up those dots there you see in the middle of the eyes of the peacock tail. And do the same for this piece here as well. Going to use this sentiment and this sentiment here, and I'm stamping this in Old Olive on the triangular piece. Adhere it into the inside of my card so I don't lose the pieces. I'm switching back to the blueberry bushel ink. It's a bit hard to handle this stamp because it's so big. While I have the blueberry bushel ink out, I'm going to stamp the sentiment here. Old Olive, and I shall stamp the rest of the tail feathers in Old Olive. Get rid of all the ink marks. so I don't smudge it. I hope I didn't get my head in the shot. Now for the die cutting, I want to use the Old Olive Noble Peacock foil, and I'm just only going to cut off as much as I need and die cut the peacock as well. So I'm just reiterating that our new dies are fabulous. They hug the image and then automatically create that white border all round. So top cutting plate, dies cutting edge face down, and I'll run that through the big shot off camera. I need to put dimensionals on the back of this peacock feather, so I'll do that off camera as well because it's going to be fiddly. So basically I've cut these mini dimensionals in half and adhered it to the spine of the feather. You want a piece of foam there because we're going to position it so that the point of the diamond shape will hit that point there. Okay, so there. Then you can adhere that down. Put dimensionals on the back of the peacock and taken all the backing papers off. So we want to pop him round about there. Curl the sentiment a little bit with your finger. Cut a fishtail at the end. Pop some dimensionals on the back. Last thing to do is add the rhinestones, so I'll just use one of the blueberry bushel ones and stick that on his eye. Old Olive ones positioned on his tail to add a bit of sparkle. One for the inside to cover up the dimensional underneath. So that's the card finished. Same card, but just different materials. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Pop back for more inspiration next time, and do subscribe if you haven't already. I'd be ever so grateful. And thank you for joining me today. You'll find all the supply links below this video in the Show More section. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.